What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey y'all, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, honey. Baby, these streets are vicious. Child, these streets are vicious, honey. Ooh, child. We gonna get into some sheets tonight. Yes, we are. We gonna get into some sheets tonight because I thought we was giving thanks. And getting into the holiday season of it all, holiday spirits of it all, the, you know, festivities of it all. But I guess not, child. Everybody said they came out to ball beach. Okay. They came to play ball bitch. Grip the mic behind the wall and let's get it on. Honey, let's get into it. Because there's a lot going on. I want to play this real quick because, girl, fair use commentary, copyright disclaimer. Under law, section 107, research, education, journalistic, news, teaching, critique, criticism, reporting purposes only. Uh, you enter at your own risk. All images, video, audio clips are not copyright by myself. There's a lot going on, girl. I don't know. But let's get into this shit. Cause I mean, oh, it goes down in the streets, honey. Cause I'm so confused. Ooh, child, let's get into this. Fair use commentary. Shout out to AT2 and the two birds, honey. Ooh, it's a lot going on.
Taking Funky on either side in the whole Hey Marvin DC the Fed situation. And it wasn't that I was taking Funky down either side. It's just that when you see somebody like Tamar who's always into some stuff or some mess, like it's hard to believe her. It's hard to want to take her side.
Thanks. Is our Black Tea sector AT2.
And in this
We love him. I gotta review this.
situation with songwriter Tiffany Red, she basically is screwing her out her money. She's keeping her money hostage. We got to talk about this, you guys. But first, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we're going to get directly into this video.
Y'all, what's really going on in these streets? You know, these people, you know, y'all go check this video out. Shout out to the AT2bers. It's a lot going on in these streets. Black Tea sector's own. Y'all got a lot going on. Tiffany, honey, one of the AT2bers just said, go talk to a lawyer. Okay, maybe you can come up and talk to AT2 and get your story out, or anybody else that you think might can just get the exposure. And like I said, a lot of these people are just people that got lucky, and some of them know how to be humble about it. you know um and some of them, they get into this status and then they think that they the shit, think that they shit don't stink, that they're not human, and that's what gets me. And that's just the like, I am them, but I'm still human. Okay, I'm still down to earth. I'm not gonna be. I don't give a fuck if I got $70 million or $7. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. Period. Okay, I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. So I don't know what the fuck do y'all expect. But y'all, please go check the AT Tubers video. There's a lot going on, honey. Um, let's listen to this. Shout out to Broader Perspective. Let's listen to what he got to say. I'm gonna put his link in the chat regarding this Sean Sean Combs, Shantae Combs situation.
What if you're
Various
meant to marry
commentary.
after 40? Not married yet? Your birth chart shows there's a reason. Netflix documentary that rapper Curtis 50 Cent Jackson took part in being an executive producer of, which basically means he helped financially release this hip project, and it's called Sean Combs The Reckoning. And after hearing numerous numerous encounters and accusations along with allegations of Sean, aka Diddy, aka Puffy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Big P Diddy. He goes by so many pseudonyms, pseudonyms, excuse me. Is it obvious to say that Sean Combs is always suffered from a Napoleon complex? Because I think about how, for instance, some people who actually dealt with him, from people who actually performed underneath his record label Bad Boy slash Arista Records, to people who happen to have dealings with him, what they may have been on behalf of being in relationships with, well, casual relationships with him or being friends with him. After hearing so many accounts of him belittling people, just to be able to make his way more and more higher to the top, to um tossing his weight around, so to speak, once he became a much more prominent figure. Once again, is it obvious to say, or does he happen to have Sean, once again, aka Diddy, aka P Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Puffy Combs, have happen to have Napoleon complex? The thing you may have not never heard about a Napoleon complex, may want me to give an example. Is when a person who's a short stature, specifically a man who is under 6 feet tall, may happen to have insecurities due to him being so short in stature. It may happen to have some kind of serious problem with being short, especially according to the average woman standards on behalf of how there are quite a bit of women who have a height requirement in order to be able to be attracted to certain men. Some may not be able to, they may have a certain, a specific kind of problem dating a man under 6 feet tall. And because that some men, after being rejected by so many women back and forth due to his height of being under 6 feet tall, he may happen to develop some kind of insecurity pertaining to his height and may try to do all he can to take it out on people by starting fights with random people or altercations with random people who it may be either verbal altercations or physical altercations, or on the other hand, he may do all he can to try to achieve a certain level of success just to be able to compensate for his insecurities of dealing with having to be of such short stature, having to deal with after having to deal with so many insults. As a perfect example, a perfect case in point of being teased all his life pretty much from the time he may have been a kid until the time that he may have reached adulthood just for being of short stature.
Now, let me say this: fair use commentary, research, education, entertainment, arraignment purposes only. Um, I don't think it's a Napoleon complex because he is, taller than somebody that's 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", 5'5", and so on. Like I said, I don't have a Napoleon complex, and I always need somebody taller than me. Taller than 5'6", 5'7". I wouldn't want nobody right to my height. I wouldn't be mind if they was like 5'6.5", and up. But I don't think it's a Napoleon complex like I just wrote. I think it's a ego issue. And a lot of people have that ego issue. Oh, well, I got enough pride and, I'm the man. And, you know, it's something almost like what Ayala said to Tamar, excuse me, Tay Monster. You know, only way a person fights so hard to be seen if they wasn't seen or heard if they wasn't heard. That's why they got a flag. That's why they got to, have a ghetto personality. Excuse me, a ignorant. Let me stop saying ghetto because that's my baby. But ghetto. What is ghetto? A low class personality. That's why they got to have insecurity. Excuse me. That's why they have insecurities and don't turn on their cameras. Or if they turn them on, you can only see their feet, their legs. They're not confident. Um, and then you have the ones they have to be a part of something. They can't make it on their own. They don't have the originality. They don't have the creativity. They gotta run with people. And then they may not even like a lot of people that they run with. You know, that's the crazy part about it. But give me your thoughts. What do you think? Because it's way more than Napoleon complex. There's a lot going on there, and there's a lot that went on with that family as a whole. And it happens in a lot of melanated families. It happens in Caucasian families, Asian, Haitian, African, Jamaican, Barbadian, Guyanese, Antiguan, Chinese, Italian. It happens in every family, you know. And if you show me a perfect family, I'll show you somebody in heaven. If you show me a perfect person, I'll show you somebody in heaven. We are all falling short of the glory. That's why, they always say is judge not. And people judge all day long. And I don't like to say people judge. I'll say people make certain decisions, but getting past that, and please go love, comment, share, subscribe on the video. I'm going to post it in the description, in the comment section. But I'm gonna play this. Shout out to Robin Roberts, um, because I think it's a kind of clear example of Curtis Jackson, aka 50, putting Sean Combs in the spotlight, but not putting himself in the spotlight. Because people can criticize you for your sexual innuendos, um, your freakiness, your proudness. And my thing is just a little bit more than that. See, and I understand, well, Diddy talking about he wants to, take a bath. I got to take a bath. And, ooh, I don't want these people touching me. That nest syndrome, that I'm better than syndrome. That's a bad syndrome. And I've seen a lot of people have that. And that kind of turns people off, to the most. And it's almost the same thing with sassy. It's the arrogance. I spent all this money on this trip, and I'm not spending money to have all these people. Who are these people? And but I'll be open to meet everybody. Yeah, we're gonna go do heroin, and we're gonna go do this. And like what? Charlie, you wonder why people, distance themselves or have said a lot of the bring you back down to reality shit that you say. And a lot of people do this, and some of them do it unaware. Like even with Charlie, with the boy, little boy comment. Like I understand the the mm, I don't want to say intense. I understand the tone behind it, but what she either ignores or fails to realize is that you're a full-blooded Southerner, Caucasian, and I'm betting 10-1, and I could be wrong, and she can come correct me, that your family is a hang 'em high in the tree. You ain't nothing but a old inn, and not saying verbatim, but this is pretty much a lot of their rhetoric. And I'm talking to those um old Southern values. See, this is what we need to be talking about. And not saying that you can't come mingle with the melanated indigenous people, but to just start getting in that emotion and in that language, like I guess because Nina or whichever Nina came and did it, or at least according to Olivia, I don't remember what she said, but I've been on her ass ever since I heard it. And I don't know, cause that Nina that they saying, she keep running saying it ain't her. I don't know if that's the one. But and they actually did discuss this, and I think my mother needs to have another town hall meeting because there's a lot of things that need to be discussed. His name was brought up tonight. Anika's name was brought up. And another name was brought up, which we're gonna get to that in the next video, which will be in a few seconds. Cause Deanna went and put out my picture and played it off as Jay Wilson, which I don't give a fuck. Cause I genuinely like Deanna. I don't like the shenanigans of it all. She just don't like me for some reason. So, that is what it is. That's her insecurity, her whatever. But y'all got a bigger problem on your hand. Like I told y'all, Beacon sectors are gonna start calling y'all out because it's jingle balls on these streets. Jingle balls on these streets. So y'all better get squad up. Um, I can't tell y'all what or who, but yeah, there's gonna be a lot going on. And I want to relate this to One Love. Had an interesting dream about, excuse me, premonition about Spook TV, but I'll save that for me because certain things, mm, I'll leave it there. But he might be popping back up on the sleigh bells and letting the sleigh bells ring. Okay, I'll say that. Anyway, um, what do y'all think about honeycombs? And I will say this, and I don't even know if I'm gonna regret saying this, but this is how I truly feel with Shantae, whoever, Combs, um, Sugar Smacks, Pop Tarts, Corn Flakes, Frosted Mini Wheats, whoever, you know, are we not human? Because it's more of what's disturbing is not the stuff daddy says. Because we know people have their pet peeves, people have their BS, people have their, hmm, people have their shenanigans that, if they want everybody to overlook. And, you can't criticize every single thing and critique everything, single thing somebody does under a microscope. And this, like I stated, is what comes with being a celebrity. And see, this is what people don't, they want to do it to other people, but they don't want it done to them. But they want to claim the title. Like with the beefing sector, because I heard Krista say, I wasn't stamped beef sector, but I'm an OG. Okay, then that must mean you just was a subscriber. And I thought you came from the black sector, but I guess they, chill. Guess they denounced you too, chill. But anyway, uh, you know, there's a lot going on. Mm. Like I said, y'all wouldn't be able to handle it, especially these weak ones. And, when you Google their name, strange things come up. Threatening Sonya Norwood, threatening Spook TV, threatening myself, threatening One Love, threatening at one point Reed, threatening Jason, threatening everybody. And these people think that, and I'm talking about with violence, because I don't care about these people that much to even, girl, please. These people are, you know, no shade, but these people are not fucking me, financing me, or feeding me. So, I wouldn't give a fuck. Half of them couldn't fuck, finance, or feed themselves. So it is what it is. But anyway, what's your thoughts on this? I'm calling Diddy to the, excuse me, Diddy to the carpet, but I can't be called to the carpet. Some people or quote unquote identified alpha male would say that you are a suspect 50, aka Curtis, um, for wanting your ass cheeks ate or, getting pleasure out of getting your ass cheeks ate, you know. And I mean, you got a lot of men or women that, love that pleasure and are vicarious, a lot more than they'd like to admit. So, there ain't nothing wrong with it. But like I said, I blame a lot of this large on society and the idiotic one dimensional values or non-existent values or thinking. It's supposed to be you're supposed to be strong and you're supposed to be don't cry and you're not supposed to have feminine emotions and getting your nails done and keeping yourself groomed is not clean and that's not manly and all this other weird stupid ass shit that these people say. Your feet ain't supposed to be done. Your feet not supposed to look, clean and like who the fuck want a man with some rusty, crusty ass feet? Who wants a man with a stank ass breath? Who wants a man with some funky armpits? You got them ghetto trash, excuse me. Can me stop saying ghetto. See, I'm getting indoctrinated with that ignorant, trash ass bums, trans, gays, bisexuals, lesbians, heteros, whatever, that, they deal with that because their self esteem is under the cement, So I just, if I'm up to par, you got to be somewhat up to par. Not saying you got to be top shelf, but I'm not just going, I don't, just like Liz Jackson, which we know your character is shot. You sit around trying to put a hetero man that degraded and denounced you on me. First of all, I don't do your non existent leftovers. Okay? I don't do nobody's leftovers. I like my own fresh pick of the litter. Okay? And trust me, it's a lot of things that go into factors before I consider, okay, being the significant or the wife. Okay? Period. And like I said, shout out to Livy. Um, I think she is Black Women's Empowerment Sector. But what do y'all think about Curtis putting a spotlight on Diddy? You know. And as a Cancer, I know he loves deep. Like Tulsa, he loves deep. You know, they have a different. Hmm, how can I say this? A different deep. You just gotta understand it to understand it mindset. But in the same token, it can be very, very petty and childish. You know. But what do you guys think about it? I mean, uh, how can I say, Diddy? What's your name? Curtis. You got them flaws too. You got flaws. We all got flaws. Show me one perfect person who walks on water, and I'll show you somebody sitting on the right hand of the throne. Okay? There is no not one. That's why Jesus went to Calvary and paid it all. I don't understand you people. Then you got the cowards that sit behind the avatars and, talk the most. And like I said, VS gets I can't say a bad rap because we've all done things, you know. But I definitely agree with her, and I believe it was, I can't remember if it was Dobie Roby, shout out to the Scooters, or Shelly, shout out to the Sergeants at Arms, who said yes, they definitely do agree with VS that if you're going to, critique and talk shit about people, you should be seen. That's beef sector, and they just wasn't having, and they still, most of the OGs don't have anybody and everybody entranced into the sector. Okay? But I definitely want to see how it's going to be played out. Just like this Diddy documentary. And Curtis is so petty because he's mad, and he can say what he want. He's mad because, Diddy slapped them cheeks of his baby mama. Okay? That's the childish and the petty shit, the petty gang that we talk about. Shout out to the petty bills. They talk about, you know, but I'm glad to see that him and Vivica are at a mature pace where, there might be some rekindling of riding around that Blockville. Burr, burr. Mm, mm-hmm. Every once in a while, because, girl, the way you glowed when you talks about Curtis, that chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand, bitch. Mm-hmm. All right. Get that wash, tighten, and set, bitch. But yeah, y'all. Get that repair tune up. Crank, crank, girl. But yeah, we're gonna get back into the shenanigans of it all. hmm Tomorrow with the R. Kelly, Essie Berry saga because it's giving real selective. I put a spotlight on this, but I ain't putting a spotlight on that. And I would love to hear Liz Jackson and the rest of them's opinion or take on Essie Berry and their involvement in harassing, stalking, threatening, Essie Berry. I would love to hear it, since everybody's such the picture of health and I didn't do anything. Everybody did everything to me. That cancer mentality. Well, yeah, I can't say cancer mentality. Because you got some loving, genuine cancers, but then you got those who, everybody did everything to me. I didn't do anything to nobody. that part. And I don't even think that's. Hmm, I don't want to just associate it with cancers. That's a big thing that they do have, whether they recognize it or not. But and also, well, I get to that on the next video because then I'm start rambling about stuff that should be in the video in the other video. But I love you guys. Sparkle love, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me play this real quick. Shout out to Robin Roberts. Shout out to I think it's Good Morning America. I can't remember. Shout out to hmm, Alex Sir Stapleton. Mm, it's giving real. Let's call it all out syndrome. That's what it's really giving. But let's get into it because it's very interesting. Hmm. Very, very interesting. See, people, and this is what I talk about, the selective outrage and you know, I can say it, but you can't. I can do it, but you can't. It's giving a lot of that. If it's going to get called out all across the board, then it's going to be all across the board. Now, like I said, Curtis, you can get called out for your cheeks being ate and love that and get that sensation because, baby, ain't nothing like it, but, if it's done correctly, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, hold on one second. Because, baby, it's a shame and a scandal. So I want to play this real quick. And I can't remember which news station, but, you know, shout out to all of them. The ones that, you know, there's a lot going on. Mm. Baguette. Unwrapped toy this season with handcrafted baguette for any celebration. From strawberry soft cream to blueberry chiffon and traditional favorites that make your sweets even sweeter. Stop in today or order online at dairybaguette.com.
Footage of Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September. The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy. Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I'm going to let you look at the situation. Footage is part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer Curtis "Fitty" Sin Jackson, titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching? I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it. It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. He has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public. The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans. Oh, that, bro. Lose your hand. I'm away. Lose your hand. Put it. I was there. Need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I got to take a bag. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. It's like 150 hugs. You're a public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people went away. Went away. I said, I feel like I need to wash. Like I'm dirty. That was so use character. Is that was that the reason for including it? Yeah. I mean, it is what the
So you're basically pointing out his flaws. I'm sure you say things off camera that people will be shocked. I'm sure you do things off camera where people will be shocked, and I'm not validating because you have germaphobes and what do you call those people? Um, People that because Tulsa does this too. She's so and a lot of cancers have that. What do you call it? Obsessive. I forgot what you call it. That syndrome. Uh, something cleanse. Something about. Damn, what is that shit called? I forgot. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I was getting ready to say ODS, but it ain't ODS. Shout out to the backyardigans of my ODS. And thank you to the, gifted memberships. I've been getting a lot of those lately. And shout out to the Avengers who are putting the Mad Owls, Mad Scowls, Maggie in the chokehold, child, the virtual chokehold. Because, girl, you know, um, while she's still over there delusional over BM and Stony Maroney, the one and only, and I want to know, Maggie, uh, why are you obsessed? It is sick. But anyway, the realness of it is obsessive compulsive disorder. I know it was OCD. I know it was something like that. But yeah, uh, and a lot of them that have it, they could be clean and over clean in certain areas, but dirty in other areas. So, and Sir Queen, I saw that shot you threw at Jay Wilson, but I'll talk about that in my next one. See, let me get off here, but tell me what y'all think. Fair use commentary, research, entertainment, educational, entertainment, arraignment purposes. Fair use commentary, critique, criticism, journalistic news, teaching, research, reporting purposes only. This is under the Fair Use Act, Section Law 107. Um, Tell me your thoughts. Do you agree with Fitty that Sean is here's my opinion, and I'm gonna say this, and I really don't give a fook. Sean and whoever else can take it how they want to, because I also think this about a lot of my peers. Not a lot of them, because you have some humble and rare Jews like my Lisa Ray who can only wear whites better than anybody else. But it's really amazing how these people, you know, I'm such the cleanliness is next to godliness, but I'm still that, you know, I'm clean, I'm over clean in one area, but I'm under clean in another area. Because if you were so clean, why you couldn't be this clean where that video should have never been shown to the light of day? Hurting somebody's daughter, somebody's uh sister, somebody's aunt, somebody's mother, why and a lot of people they strive to be perfection, and that's where a lot of people get it twisted. Nobody's perfect and nobody's going to be perfect. Like I said, the golden rule is do unto others. If you don't want it done to you, don't do it to others. Um, and I know, like even with One Love, she says, I do things for reasons, and everybody may not know your reasons, in certain situations. So then people are not can't read your mind, but no, people are not supposed to. But in the same token, just like you want decisions made, and I'm not speaking in general, I'm speaking, but I had to use you for example, One Love, when you catch the replay. You know, just like in general, people don't know their decisions, and Eureka wanted to know everything and wanted to know how everything was taking place. If somebody doesn't know how they're gonna move or how they're gonna navigate, how you gonna try to you know, how you gonna make their move for them? And see, she it could have been, but I know she's not that type of intelligent person emotionally, because if it was a positive aspect of it, she would have tried to help you navigate how to move. But when you're a evil, bitter person, like a lot of these uh, squashed mummy bees, you're not on that wavelength where you can take any kind of criticism. Like One Love has elevated ooh, to that point. Oh, and where she can accept criticism. She can elevate and educate herself. That's why she, reached out to uh like a grown woman should or a grown man should. Let me reach out and get the backstory and not use it for content, not exploit it. And I think that's the same thing with Lemmy. People don't want to be exploited or extorted. If you want to put it in. Like you don't like when it's done to you, so don't do it to other people. And see, that's why the golden rule is the golden rule. Do unto others. But see, some people can't. They can live by it. I mean, they can preach it, but they can't live by it. And that's the thing that gets me, like, hmm, you know, gets people in their teeth. Because it's almost like, okay, you can say you don't want to be hurt, but you want to hurt others. You want to sit up all night and flag others. You want to, you know, but soon as it's done to you, and take the goose with the gander, period, and all propaganda. If you going to put it out there, receive it back. Good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. If you're going to put it out there, receive it back. Good, bad, or indifferent. Period. Point blank. Okay? So that's that. But anyway, love y'all. Let me do my real quick other video, and I'm out. Love y'all. How you doing?